We go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline, and we're going to keep it real with Jordan Pugh. Good morning, sir.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Missed you last week. How's your family doing?
Man, everybody's good, man. I told you about my dad. He's still in the hospital, but he's on the other side of it now.
Good.
So now they're looking at hopefully getting him out this week, getting him back home, and getting up and rolling. So between that and between the 6-month-old I have at the house, man, we're rolling over here.
Well, just know we've been praying for you, man. Let's talk about Aggie football this weekend. Any major takeaways from what you saw against UTSA?
Takeaways. I'm kind of impartial. Okay. Let me tell you why. So the positives. I thought that the passing game really progressed for Marcel. I thought he did a better job really growing in the pass concepts. I thought that Klein used him really well. A lot of the passes that opened up, especially along the seams, a lot of the dig routes, they manipulated the defense based off his running threat and running ability. So I thought that was really good. And I think that's an element, man, that we're going to be able to use later on down the line throughout the season. Defensively, I thought one of the keys I had was the defensive backs. I thought they played well as a unit. I didn't think they had a lot of threats downfield, but I thought overall they played well, especially Ratcliffe. I thought Ratcliffe had a hell of a game. Filling in on runs, being able to be in position on pass plays, I thought that was good. The negatives, the one bugaboo that I can't get past is we still are not fitting the runs correctly. For the life of me, I don't know why we can't get that down yet. Our edges are not secure. We're not forcing the ball back into our interior help. We're crashing inside a lot and letting the ball bounce. I thought the running back for UTSA, I thought he was elite. I think he's an NFL-style back, man. He's a really good player. But with that being said, we didn't get a lot of penetration upfield defensively, and we let those edges really hurt us. And then from an offensive perspective, man, not being able to run the ball, that was more of a surprise to me. For them to outrush us, I think we had maybe 100 yards, if not a little bit over that. With the type of talent and then the type of line that we have, man, that's unacceptable on my end. I just think we have to be better at that. There were shades of when we played Sam Houston State. I want to say it was Jimbo's last year, kind of reminded me of that at the beginning, the first quarter into the second, then we caught our groove. But I think, man, we got some explosive playmakers on the back at the receiver position with KC, with Craver. I mean, I think we got dudes there. I think our back end played better. I love our linebacking core with Scooby and York. We just got to fix up those little things, man. Because when you go up and you step up in talent with Notre Dame coming in 2 weeks, the SEC level play, we got to be able to hone that in, man. Because that's going to bite us if we don't fix that.
All right. So when we talk about this defense, and I know you saw some issues there. What about the way they responded? Okay, you give up that touchdown, that 75-yarder to Robert Henry, and then you make some adjustments and you force 6 straight punts. Am I overreacting to that, or did you see something? All right, they cleaned up, in your opinion, what they needed to clean up.
I think they cleaned it up for the caliber of opponent that we played. I'm still seeing too many missteps. So let's go back to South Carolina last year. South Carolina, you saw it really spear its head against South Carolina. We couldn't keep contained. We were out of our gaps. We weren't filling correctly. And then you saw that kind of spill over, right? So we had that 3-4 game losing streak that we had towards the end of the year. But one of the things that I wanted to see short was that run game. And I understand that, sometimes it's a lack of experience. We had young guys in there playing, but also at the same time, you're talking about the fundamentals of defense, right? You always have a force contained player. You always have a guy who's there to fill the gaps. What I saw too many times in watching the game, going back and rewatching it, you saw players playing out of gaps. There was a few times that the linebackers were downhill too fast. And then our 2 interior defenders were 2-gapping a lot. I think that if we can fine-tune that and get guys gap sound, but also understand their fit in their place, man, we null and void a lot of the run game. That's just one of those things. Maybe I'm just scarred from last year. Maybe I'm scarred from what I saw. But, man, we got to be able to fine-tune that, because if we can fine-tune that, man, we can make a lot of noise this season, man, especially on defense.
Talking to Jordan Pugh here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Okay, let's go a little deeper on Marcus Radcliffe, because the PFF grades were great. The eyeball test was great. He's put on some strength, and it looks like he belongs, right?
Yeah, man, he looked good, man. Like out of all the players that stood out this week, man, I thought he was the one who stood out the most, man. I thought he was the best player on the field defensively for us, but he was everywhere. It's not only that he had the playmaking ability because he had that last year, but when you look at the spatial awareness that he played with, when you looked at him in zone concepts, man, understanding holes within the zone, understanding what the offense was trying to do, and the way that he filled gaps in the run game, he played fast. I thought out of everybody on the defensive side of the ball, he was the one who was playing with urgency and speed because he knew what was coming. That's what it looked like from my end, right? Now, we understand week one, man, you're getting acclimated. There's no preseason games for us. So, man, you don't really take a lot into week one, but the things that you can take and you really want to highlight is what he did. Play with urgency, play with confidence, play with conviction. And, man, I think that was a big step from last year and going into this season into game one, man. You saw a true maturation process with him, man. I was impressed by how he played.
Talking to Jordan Pugh here, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. The corners, okay? Will Lee does what Will Lee does. I was impressed with Des Ricks. I was impressed with Julian Humphrey, considering not only like UTSA, what they do is they pass. They spread you out and they pass. I think these guys did a really we know the concerns with the run game, but they did a really good job. Do you agree?
Yeah, I thought overall, man, just with the secondary play, I thought that they did what they were supposed to do. They honed in, right? One of the things, we gave up too many explosive plays last year, and you wanted to see that condensed. Now, a lot of that goes with rush. All that goes together. But when you saw guys man up, play well, stay connected to the receiver, when you're looking at zone defenses that we ran and everybody was in position, the one thing that you want to see is guys in position constantly. And that's what you saw. And look, UTSA is a pretty good football team. I don't think, man, they're the lower level teams that of the past that you're supposed to run through. They have some talent up there. But, man, looking at the cohesion of the group, you could see where Elko's handprint was on that, right? You saw a difference in how they moved, how they communicated pre-snap, how they communicated post-snap. I thought that was big. I thought there was a big maturation process there. But most importantly, man, you got your core nucleus back. You got Chappelle back in the nickel spot. You know, you're solidified with Lee, Anderson. All those guys are there. Now you're plugging and playing the right pieces, man, in order to find that cohesion so everybody can play well together.
Were you able to see anything from Tyreek Chappelle? First time back here in a year. Did he show up to you at all?
I saw a few flashes in the run game, right? But I don't think he really had a lot of opportunities this week, right? I think, you know, as we get further along, we get into the Notre Dame week, you'll see him really start to make his mark as the level of play, the level of opposition, the level of offensive coordinator will really start to show his head, right? So I think getting him back in the groove, man, just getting his confidence back, man. When you're coming back from a long layoff, when you're coming back from injuries, whatever that is, part of that is just the mental game. Hey, man, can I just make it through this? And that's a real reality for a lot of guys. So, man, getting the rhythm back in the flow, now getting into his groove, I think you'll see him really shine. But also, I think the level of opposition, the level of coordinator, the type of offenses will really allow him to showcase his skill set later on this year.
All right, let's go to the offense. So the run game. I understand why some people are concerned. I get it. I'm going to tell you why I'm not concerned. Okay?
Okay.
They didn't try to run. When they did try to run, you know, Ruben had a 30-yard run. Le'Veon, 3 carries for 19 yards. Look, to me, like, I'm not concerned yet. How about that? Because I think Le'Veon is Le'Veon. We know who he is, and that offensive line is still that same offensive line. So, to me, I am not worried about that. And the beauty is, okay, you want to load the box? We have now proven we can throw. We have now proven that if we give the ball to KC and Mario in space, you're going to. So, if they start focusing on that, they're not going to load the box. Am I wrong here?
No, but yes. Okay, so I'm going to go on a wild assumption. You watch Alabama, Florida State, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Florida State physically dominated Alabama like we haven't seen in a long time. The one thing that always travels is the run game. Because you can have days, man, it's just not clicking offensively for whatever reason, man. Because you're looking at just concepts where the ball has to be in the air. There's so many factors. There's wind, there's rain, there's guys slipping, there's whatever that may be. But the one thing that travels is the run. I am slightly concerned because the level of talent that we have on the offensive line, the NFL talent that we have on the offensive line, and the NFL talent that we have at the running back position, we should be able to assert our authority, especially against a UTSA, a Utah State, whatever that is. We have the bodies and we have the people. Now, I agree with you when you say that we weren't necessarily focused on the run because I believe that was the case based off the play calling. getting Marcel into a rhythm, allowing him to be a passing threat because we know he's a running threat. And then when we mix all those together, when we mix the run threat with the three backs that we have, the three-headed monster that we have, along with the quarterback, allowing four key runners, and then we can mix that pass concept in there, that makes us a dangerous offense. But, man, against Utah State, we really need to establish the run game. There was too many times that it took the play too long to develop. It's too many lateral runs for me. I don't like that. We got to be able to get downhill, especially with a guy like Le'Veon Moss. You're looking at Ruben Owens, who's an explosive home run hitter. Man, those guys got to get downhill now. And I think part of it could be, hey, man, let's try this now. Week 1, let's put it on film so guys can game plan for it. But it is a concern because we weren't moving people off the spot from our offensive line perspective. I thought we did a great job in our pass protection. I thought we really did better in that aspect. But from a run game standpoint, I didn't see a lot of displacement. And that has me slightly concerned. I'm not in any DEFCON mode, but, man, we got to be better at that. We got to assert our authority, and that's a mindset issue. That's more what I'm speaking to now.
Okay. So if this week that is corrected against an inferior opponent in Utah State,
yep.
Like, again, I'm just going back to last year. Until they give me a reason not to believe they can do what they did last year, I'm going to believe that they can do what they did last year.
Yes. And when you look at it, like, look, talent-wise, we got the talent to compete with anybody. That's not the issue. Now it's taking those pieces, man, and it's putting a coordinated effort together, man, in order to be effective and score touchdowns, man, score points. The biggest thing is this, like you said, there's no reason to freak out. Week 1 is the biggest liar in college football, right? Guys look phenomenal in week 1, and then they drop off the face of the earth, right? There's teams that look terrible week 1, all of a sudden they go on a run. Week 1 is more, we got to get the kinks out, right? This week or this year, it wasn't a Notre Dame. It wasn't a big boy out of the jump, right? So when you look at those things from an evaluation standpoint, from a coaching perspective, if I'm looking at it and I'm in those rooms, the thing that I know that's going to carry us throughout the season, that's going to carry us through this SEC schedule, is that 300 monster we got at running back. Because if we can run that football, we can let Casey go to work one-on-one. We can let Mario Craver go to work one-on-one. And we can start implementing our tight ends because we can manipulate the defense based off what the run game gives us. So we have got to make a concerted effort in order to impose a threat to the defenses, man, but also build that chemistry and that flow on offense to allow Colin Klein to be able to call whatever he wants.
Talking to Jordan Pugh here on TexAgs Live. All right, Jordan, let's talk a little bit about the special teams because we mentioned Casey and Mario, and then Terry Bussey. Just that it is one of the parts of the game that we all know is important, but I'm not saying you, but a lot of people don't think about it until you have to think about it negatively or positively. That was a big part of what got them going offensively.
Man, it's a spark plug. Special teams is, you might get 10 to 12 a game, right? But when you're looking at it, man, those are the things that can spark an offense depending on where you are, or defense, depending on the defense is coming on the field. Man, those things, the thing about special teams is they are game-changing plays, right? And so when you look at what Casey did on that, was the punt return, when he had that punt return for touchdown, man, that's a huge spark. That's a catalyst, right? Sometimes you just need the juice to go. And when he hit that, all of a sudden we started catching the flow, especially offensively. Man, look, I think overall, like, our threats on the outside are extremely better than what we had last year. I mean, we have dudes on the outside. But, man, when you look at the special teams, you're looking at your better players playing that, man, you got Casey back there, man, you got Terry Bussey back there, you got explosive home run hitters. You got your best guys running down on kickoff punt, man. That is crucial because those are swing plays, right? Just like an interception can be a swing play. A fumble, for example, could be a swing play. Those special teams plays are swing plays, so they are vital, man, in order to get things going, build momentum, but they can also kill momentum as well. So, man, the special teams was a big plus to what we had, and I think we got game changers on that side of the ball.
Did you, I don't know how much of the Miami and Notre Dame game you watched, but more impressed with what Miami was able to do or maybe what Notre Dame wasn't able to do? And how does that translate potentially here in a couple of weeks when A&M's got to go to South Bend?
I was more impressed with Notre Dame than I was Miami. All right. So, I was in the hospital with my dad, so I was able to catch the back end of it. So I was in and out on the first half. But then the second half, Notre Dame has a lot of resilience. That's one thing I can say about Notre Dame, man, watching them, the resilience that they have. But they're a scrappy bunch, but I think they understand who they are. They got better playmakers to me on the outside this year, but then Jeremiah Love is a problem. Mm-hmm. I think that they didn't utilize Jeremiah Love a lot. And when I'm giving the analysis from our defense, from our run game, I'm looking at it from that perspective because I know when that guy touches the ball, and he sees the amount of holes that we had, he's going to exploit them. And we're talking about touchdowns. You see what I'm saying? So, man, looking at Notre Dame, I think they played well. I think they gave Miami a lot more plays than Miami earned. I think Notre Dame is a very good football team, but they have a very good nucleus and they have an identity, right? When we go up against them, the one thing that we got to define, especially going into this week, is we got to define an identity. We got to define that on defense. We got to define that on offense. Who are we going to be? And then we have to be able to stick with that. We have the pieces. Now it's finding out, all right, man, how do these pieces make the puzzle? Once we do that, man, I think we can go with anybody in the country. Talent-wise, we can stack with anyone. It's just putting that all together.
So the one thing that I was hoping to see was a quarterback at Notre Dame look flustered, kind of like what we saw in the Texas-Ohio State game. I didn't see that. I thought that quarterback actually got better as the game went on. Arch got better as the game went on, too. But and I was kind of hoping for CJ to struggle a little bit. I didn't see a quarterback. I mean, he wasn't fantastic, but he was pretty darn good.
That it's the poise, right? Mm-hmm. It's the resilience. I look at Marcus Freeman is doing a hell of a coaching job at Notre Dame, but when I looked at that team, I saw a nucleus. I saw a core group, right? There was no panic. There was no outburst, man. It was a team that was steady, and they knew if we just made certain plays, we get back in this game. This is what we need to prepare for. This, we had our week one with UTSA. We have to be able to prepare for that opponent with not UTSA, but Utah State. We got to be able to put our pieces together because we can match blow for blow, athlete for athlete. That's never been the question. Schematically, fit, responsibilities, discipline, those are going to be the keys for us. If we want to get to where we want to get to, if we want to make that SEC title run, that playoff run, man, the barometers and everything that you do from week to week is judged on a national championship scale. So that's how we have got to function from a team standpoint. If we function from that, if we operate from that level, if we operate with the end in mind, understanding that everything is an individual climb to the mountain, dude, we'll have success. But man, what I saw with UTSA was minor discipline things, but you cannot let those things carry over. You have to let them die weekly. And if we can get that done, man, we'll shine.
Jordan, I'll close out with this. Is there anything you saw from SEC teams that give you, hey, the SEC is wide open and A&M can do this, or maybe a little bit of pause, like what you saw from LSU, what you saw or lack of what you saw from Texas, Alabama? Like when you look at the SEC and what you're able to take in, do you still feel good about where A&M is in the hierarchy?
I always feel good about A&M because the one thing that A&M has is talent. It's about putting those pieces together. Now, I think South Carolina is going to be a problem. I really think they're going to be a problem. They have a hell of a quarterback. They have a hell of a defense along with top-tier defensive players. LSU, not sold yet. I understand Garrett Nussmeier and everybody's high on him. I think he's average at best. I think he's around a lot of talented players, but I don't think he's the player that takes them over the top. Arch, I'm not surprised by Arch. One, you're stepping in to the starting role, so it's not spot play. Two, you're going against an elite level defense. Three, the game looked too fast for Arch. He looked like, man, this is moving faster than I thought. We'll see how that goes because now you're talking about a mental game, a mental warfare that they has to play on that end. The one team that scares me, or there's really two teams. There's two teams that really have my antennas up. It's Oklahoma and it's Florida. And I think Oklahoma and Florida are going to surprise a lot of people. I think they've been building correctly the right way. I think they have the key pieces in place, and I think they have two dynamic players and their quarterbacks. I think the quarterbacks are the game changers. You saw that with Florida State. One positional player changed the whole outcome. And when I look at those two, man, I think they're dark horses in the SEC. But for me, as far as the Aggies are concerned, we always have it. We have never been shy of talent. Let's put it together now. Let's put the whole puzzle together. And you almost have me cuss on here. Let's win this thing because I believe that we have the ability. And I believe the SEC is for the taking. I really do.
Jordan, I appreciate you, brother. Talk to you next week.
Yes, sir, man. Let's do it.